How you guys doing?
Great, thank you for
Excellent,
Having a
excellent.
ball so
I was
far.
going to say, the show just beginning, everyone getting settled in and meeting all the fans, probably seeing some familiar faces, and
Yeah. Having pizza with Alice Cooper kind of freaked me out.
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's amazing. Man, that's dreams, dude.
I know.
Is he a cheese-only guy, or is he toppings?
I didn't actually pry that far. I was fanning out.
Right.
Oh, all right.
But he
Okay.
strangled you. There's photographic evidence, right?
Yes, yes. I got a
Good deal.
nice selfie with him, got his hands around my throat, being very Alice Cooper-y, so it's very cool.
Did he have like pizza grease on his hands?
Could have been, I didn't mind.
So you'll never wash your neck again.
That's why I wear black t-shirts, so stuff doesn't show. It's the way to go.
Well, welcome to the panel. Of
you.
course, this is Voiceover 101, and what we're going to be talking about is basically, how, you get into the business, any kind of tips or tricks or anything, advice you might be able to give someone, what your experience is in the industry, and, what you want to share.
All right.
So, we'll start with you, Kenny. How did you get started from the very, very beginning?
Well, let's see. Once upon a time, there was this dumbass, and no, I decided that voiceovers looked like a place to be. So I went and I bought a website, and this was like 2000, 2001. The internet's
Yeah.
starting
Oh,
to
yeah.
get faster. So I'm like, I bought www.kennyjames.com or something like that. I'm like, all I got to do is stick a demo up to there, and I'm on my way. That is incorrect. I got a demo made. I took some classes with this cat in Seattle at the UW campus. It was experimental campus. And then he produced a demo for me, and I slapped that online. Now, at the time, I was working at Suburban Propane. And yes, I can do that because, no, I shouldn't do it.
Oh, you can do some Hank Hill? I was going to say, I was waiting for it.
I used to sell propane and propane accessories, I'll tell you what. So I was actually doing that. I was a service tech. And I'm at Bainbridge Island, which is just across the water from Seattle, kind of a snooty island. And we're doing some work. Lady hears me talking about voice work. And she says, "You do voice work?" And I said, "I'm getting started." And she said, "Do you have anything I can listen to?" Well, I gave her the website. Turns out she was a part-time producer at Bad Animals Studios in Seattle, where Nintendo records their stuff. She gives my name to Wendy Wills, who's the production manager. I know this is going on forever and ever. But she started sending me auditions, and I got crushed because I did 3 auditions for Sly Cooper 3 and didn't get any of them. And I was all like, well, I stink. And they sent me Bowser, and I went, this is a waste of time. And the reference tracks that they had were from Super Mario Sunshine, I believe. And so I did my best. And 2 weeks later, I got an email that said, you got the gig. And I was like, what gig are you talking about? And they're like, you got the Bowser thing. And I was like, okay, really? So that's how I got started.
Okay.
It was by chance. Sometimes, ladies and girls and gentlemen and boys, that it's just by chance. And that's the name of that tune.
It's whatever's in the cards for you. You just never know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that a long enough story? It was pretty long.
No, that was good. That was good. Oh, what about you, James?
Felt like I was rambling for days.
You weren't.
It
You
was
weren't.
fascinating.
It really
It
was.
was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm stuck on this.
Thank you.
I got some
I like
questions
the bonus
about propane.
Hank Hill impression.
Yeah.
That was my favorite part because I
Thank
live
you.
in Texas.
I was an on-camera actor first. I did a plethora of co-star and guest star roles before settling into a day job, working in on-air promotion for FX Network.
Oh, okay.
While I was there, a coworker had a friend who was an agent and said, hey, you do all these voices and stuff all the time. I know you're an actor. You should meet my friend. So I went for an interview to be represented commercially on camera, and then got introduced to the voiceover side while I was there. A couple weeks later, I booked my first job, and they kept sending me auditions.
What was your first job?
It was White Castle. It was a White Castle radio spot.
Really?
Yeah. I was hungry for a crave case. It was my younger voice too. Yeah. It was awesome. It was awesome. But it was great. It was I knew I had arrived. I'm like, this is what I like to do. I like to act. The acting remained intact, and I got to play a variety of characters. You know, being a black man, I can only play black male characters for the most part.
Sure.
And so it's great to have opportunities to be non-black male as an
Absolutely.
actor. Yeah, and that's how I started.
Cool. Cool.
So I like not having to be a size 0 woman. That's really fun for me. I am a theater person. I have a theater degree from the University of Oklahoma. And I actually got my first voice gig while I was still in college. It was for glamour shots. It's kind of a big deal. Yeah. Dating myself. And then I was at a party, actually. I met somebody who worked for Funimation, and they said, oh, you are an actor. You should come audition. And as any actor will tell you, the answer to that is always yes. I should. And so I went and auditioned for a show called Fruits Basket. And that is the first thing I ever did. And I've been working there and doing other voice stuff ever since.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. Well, I actually have my own perspective as well. I do voiceover also. I haven't reached the level that you guys are, but I do have a few animated series, and I've done things at home as well. So that's another way you can do. Luckily, I was able to break in right whenever the home equipment just started to get affordable, and not everyone was doing it and sending out auditions. So I was actually able to book some work and get some clients, which I've had for over the last decade now. And I'm slowly going up those stairs, up that ladder. Every year it's a little bit more and more. So that's another way you can do it as well, is basically put yourself out there. I used a service that was called Voice 123, which now is just, there's a plethora of people, and not everyone, unfortunately, gets their auditions heard. But when I first started, it was, so I kind of lucked out. But if you have the skills and you have the patience, that's another way you can get in as well.
Yeah, I'd have to say, even on this level, I guess I'll call it a level, you still might not get your audition heard, because sometimes they'll ask the agent to send their 5 best clients, and if you're the 7th best, then you just won't get heard, and you miss out on the opportunities.
So much of it is just about patience and perseverance, just believing in that dream.
A bit of thick skin, because most of the time the answer is no, so, or you don't get an answer at all.
Right.
You go, I nailed that, I nailed it.
It's
and
like
then
ghosting in
crickets.
relationships.
Yeah, yeah.
It's definitely ghosting.
Haven't heard from you. I haven't heard from you. How come you don't call me no more?
And so many times you think you know what the client wants, and you just think, man, I'm just gonna be perfect for that. And then you do it, and you never hear anything again, and then you hear who got it, and you're like, that was nothing at all what the client asked for.
Right.
Right now, it's really big. Sorry,
please, ladies first.
it's really big. They'll be like, oh, especially for commercial work, we don't want it to sound like you're selling anything. We want it to sound very conversational.
Yep.
And then when you hear the commercial, you're like, this is absolutely narrative selling 100,000%.
Yep.
And that's what they
Happens all the
do
time.
when they're directing you. They direct you in a more of a selling type of tone in your voice. It's
Yeah.
Like, but you asked me not to do this.
We need conversational,
Right.
but with more sell.
Yeah.
Now you just ruined it.
They want conversational.
Yeah, which doesn't sound conversational at all.
Can you
They're
sound sarcastic
conversational.
but friendly at the same time?
Yeah.
That's the big one.
Now
get
do
the,
it again, but better.
Don't sound too slick.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you mean don't sound slick? Oh, I guess I'm sounding slick. Oh, darn.
There's a lot, too, for women of, like, Emma Stone and Scarlett Johansson. Yeah. And they have very rough voices, and I just don't sound like that. So it's every time I get one of those, it's like, nope, I can't do that one.
Yeah.
This is what I say to make myself feel better, is that the silk ain't raw, so I can't do it. and that's how I keep myself from crying to sleep.
Oh, now we've just crushed a million dreams out there. Well, okay.
Welcome
maybe
to it,
25, but
Bring these dreams to light, giving them color.
It's real.
so that's how you got your starts. What would be your advice as far as someone who, like, you say, you know what, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life, and how would you tell them to start?
Try to be specific I think this is what I want to do is a very broad
Yeah.
That's true.
ideology. And I think to specify that, I think once you find that clarity, I think it really helps to propel you forward into the industry. So you have to know what your sound is, you know your strengths, know your weaknesses, and be honest with yourself about that. Never sell yourself in a light that you don't really live in. You know, don't say you can do an accent when you can't really do the
Yes.
accent,
Yeah.
because they will ask you, and you'll have to do it.
Yeah. If you claim an accent, eventually somebody's going to want you to do it. So
Yep.
don't pad your resume. At least not with that kind of thing, anyway.
Yeah,
It's-
if you can only do a really bad French accent, say that it's a really bad French accent. That might actually get you. So you want to, if you want to take action, you got to be the actor. If you can do voices, that's fantastic. It is a great party trick if you're not an actor. If you're an actor, then it's a career. So that's the difference. And I would say everybody should be an actor, because when you talk about specific choices, you wouldn't really know what that is unless you're an actor. So I would definitely do that. Also, workshops are the best place to network. The best place. You will meet not only people who could get you work, but the people you will be working with in the future. So I'm all about workshops. And if you're taking a workshop, look at who's teaching that workshop. And if they don't have the career you want, you probably don't want to take a workshop with them.
And as far as
Sage advice right here.
just expanding some on acting, you don't have to be a successful commercial actor on camera. Do community theater. I do a lot of community theater, like too much. And
There's no
so
such
you
thing.
but you're on the stage, and there is no cut. Do it again, or oh, I forgot that. When you do that, you're tap dancing and hoping that your castmates will bail you out. But there is no stopping. So I mean, it's really good for acting. I suggest going in the theater and practicing. Say you want to do commercials. That's what you want to do for voiceover. Tape and ape. It's a term that I don't even remember where I got it from. Tape commercials, the commercial style that you're interested in, and play them back, and even learn to impersonate them, because your brain will start to latch on to the cadence that most of these commercials are looking for.
There is a rhythm. There's definitely a rhythm.
There's a rhythm to it. So tape and ape, that's a good thing to do. That keeps you exercised. And we're talking about home studios. Home studios are easy to get into now. So many people are doing everything from home. A lot of animation, though. They want you in the studio, unfortunately.
Is there anybody in college currently? Okay, so college is such a great resource. There are animation schools that are desperate for voices. Most animation schools that I know or have gone to or spoken with the animators, they are not voice actors, and they know they are not voice actors. They do it because they don't have any alternative. So if you can present yourself as an actor to those schools, these are your future animators. These are your future jobs. You do a favor for them now, you work with them now, you learn and you get your experience now with them. You guys will be together. They will know you forever. Because how many people do we know that are in the industry now that went to school together? You know, so that's just such a great way to not only practice your craft, but also network for the rest of your life. So I totally recommend doing that.
Yeah, I actually got a professional job by doing that very thing when I first started. I did a lot of free stuff because I wanted some stuff for my demo reel.
Right.
And that was a really good way to build. And I love the fact that you brought up theater, because, you know, you have to be able to do a voice, but emote with that voice, not just say a couple of catchphrases, you know, especially if you're doing animation work.
I just want to add that not all voiceover requires you to be an actor.
True.
Or a talented actor even. But you do have to, you gotta be human, right? You just have to understand experience, right? So you might have to sell a product, or you might have to do a promotion for a series. So you don't necessarily have to be the embodiment of some character. You have to just know how to speak,
Yeah.
really. You know, you
Yeah.
have to speak clearly, know how to take direction. Yes, technique. Because there are lots of people with really good voices, right? They're
You have such a good voice.
Yes.
That's what everybody
I'm
says about
dying.
everybody. You're funny. You're funny.
Isn't it great?
And ladies, right? A lot of them have the sultry, like the little sultry tone. Guys, you want to have the low tone like this. Everybody all over the place has these different sounds, but just because you have that sound doesn't make you a voiceover actor or a voiceover artist. Like anything else, you have to practice. You might throw a hell of a spiral, but it doesn't make you a quarterback. You have to practice. I just wanted to add that about the acting.
That's good,
I don't want
because
everybody-
that's
You might
true.
be a terrible actor. I don't want you to feel like you can't have a career in voiceover, because you can.
Yeah, I mean, some of it's just dry, like medical texts and things like that. And I've done that myself. So for National Geographic, where basically I was just reading, there was no emoting, there was no acting.
Right.
And that's another way to become a voiceover actor as well and make really good contacts.
Sometimes it's just growling.
Right.
That's it. Growling with feeling.
Squawking. I've squawked before. Lots of birds in my repertoire. Improv is also great too. If you don't have an instinct for laughing at yourself and failing miserable on a daily basis, I would recommend improv because it'll teach you how. That's huge. You've got to be able to fail big to make strong choices. And that's scary. It's scary to not know if you're going to make the right choice. So it's so much better, though, you'll find out, to make a strong choice and just be wrong than it is to not ever make a strong choice. And improv really helps you learn how to fail.
Yeah,
Fail well.
that's
Fail
right,
up.
or spectacularly.
Yeah.
Cool, this is really great information. Do we have anyone here who actually is in college right now and is studying theater, or is trying to get, you are? Excellent. Okay. Well,
Congratulations.
yeah, that's wonderful.
done.
Nice. What school?
Yeah, man.
Awesome. That's
Well
great.
done. Good luck to you.
Yes.
Cool. So, after, of course, you get into the industry, what would be your advice for people to stay?
Don't be an asshole.
That's real.
That's probably it.
Very simple.
That is real.
All right, next topic.
Yeah. Don't be that.
Good client relations.
Yes, that's huge. Client relations is a really, really big part of the business. With animation, people always talk about, oh, it must be hard to get in there. It's a tough nut to crack, right? And that's because people like working with people that they have a good rapport with, and people who are just nice people, right? I mean, you know your nice coworkers from the ones that you don't really want to hang out with, the ones you'd go to lunch with, the ones you wouldn't. And
Yeah.
when you're in a situation with someone who might hire you, you want to be the likable person. You want to be the person who is directable, the person who adds to the experience and doesn't just, extract from the creative process.
Be someone you would want to work with. Don't come in cosplay to an audition.
Yeah,
Right.
that's very cool.
Don't cosplay as the director in a. These are things that have happened.
I'm like,
I'm sure you have some stories. Well, we're going to go ahead and open up the floor to questions. So if you have a question for our illustrious guest stars over here, please come right over here. You can queue up right over here at the microphone. Again, please questions only, no requests.
Don't hurt each other.
And I guess we'll go ahead and start with you, sir. What's your name?
My name is Chris.
Chris. All right. You have a question?
I'm on the other end of I'll be doing the directing, I guess, and stuff. And what's some good tips to direct someone and kind of give them a direction, I guess, to what you're looking for, or to portray what you're looking for well, I guess. I don't know.
Keep the lines of communication open, because all the actor really wants to do is what you want them to do. So you have to be very clear as a director what you're looking for. You know, if you want something specific from your actor, learn the nuances of the language, learn references for, you know, sound examples, or even situationally, things that you can, you know, get your actor to draw from. Yeah, I'd kind of start there. I'd start there.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, I would also say if you don't do any acting, if you haven't done any, do some and be directed by someone. See what works for you, because that's a really good way to find out what works for other people. All actors are different too, so one technique isn't going to work on everybody. We are fragile baby flowers, and we must be caressed and loved and brought to life.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, right? So it's individual, and so I would say keep it individual.
I'm sorry.
That would be mine.
That's good. And you're going to
Precious.
blow.
I didn't mean to
He
snort.
snorted.
I
He probably didn't
right
hear it.
over
He
your
didn't have his
conversation.
microphone up. But
You're talking about making yourself laugh. I made myself laugh and I snorted. Sorry.
We got
Voice
you.
actors' number one fear is being replaced and not being told,
Okay.
right?
Okay. I need to inject a true story here real quick. I did a show. I had some great scenes with an actor, and that actor was replaced. So I did those great scenes again with another actor. The business doesn't always tell you that you are not the one that's going to be in the final product. And it was tough, man. It was tough, you know, because I'd gotten to know both of the actors quite well. And so there was the empathy for the one who missed out, and then there was the adulation for the one who did a great job.
Sure.
You know? And that's tough, you know, that's tough.
Did you tell them? That's a tough call, right?
It is a tough call. I felt like it wasn't my place to.
Right.
Sure.
That's hard.
You know,
Yeah.
as a peer, as another actor, I wanted to share that with the person, but I had to stay in my lane.
yeah.
If it was a very close personal friend, I certainly would have been like, hey, bro, this is.
You don't want to put that in their psyche anyway, you know.
But I still felt a sense of responsibility to the other actor. You know, I wouldn't want to just get pushed to the side. Like that.
Yeah.
It was tough. Sorry.
It's hard.
No, don't worry. So,
I just got real, and then it got
Yeah, it
real.
was-
It's true. It's
what's
so
your
true.
name?
My name is Cole.
Go.
Hello, Cole.
What's up?
Go ahead.
What would be your advice to somebody who lives in the middle of nowhere who is trying to get into voice work?
Yeah,
Home
that can be a
studio?
challenge because of the internet even.
Yeah. I would do a home studio if you don't want to move. Otherwise, I would move.
That's
GTFO.
That is my primary. That is my main plan at the moment. Yeah.
Do you have a demo?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I actually have one with me, but it's upstairs with a Hungarian man.
Have you compared it to other demos?
Yes.
Okay. So for people who don't know, the demo is a little sample of different voices that you do, 30 seconds to a minute. If you are getting a demo done, wherever you live or wherever you want to live, find agents in that area. It's very easy. There's this thing called Google. It's fantastic. Go to their websites because their working actors will have their demos online. So you can directly hear what is working in your area and model that demo to be with what is actually getting people hired. So that for demos, because a lot of people will sell you a demo, but if they don't live in your area, or maybe they don't necessarily have the experience to back up they're doing your demo, you can at least have a resource to know what exactly it should sound like, what a professional demo really is. So I would do that if I were you.
Yeah, I have advice that was given to me by somebody else too is don't produce your own demo. Because what you think sounds good for you is not necessarily true. It's better to have an outside perspective. Because if it's a good producer, they have a really good ear for whatever genre you're trying to do the demo for, and they can work with you to get it out of you. Whereas if you do it yourself, you go, that sounds great, I'll slap some music on top of it, and it's not as think as you great it is.
And invest in that demo too, because it really can pay off. I mean, I put some money to my demo, and it got me some work. And also to your question as well, think about I know it does cost money, but the pay for play sites, because that's how I got my start. And you know, everything I did was just in my bedroom closet, you know, with my home equipment. And you know, now I've done work for DreamWorks and Marvel and Nat Geo, and all kinds of different things. So you know,
Yeah,
And good luck.
my first home studio was a walk-in closet.
yeah.
Yeah, I did a couple of audiobooks in there.
Oh, yeah.
It was sad and boring and no windows. Now I have a whisper room now, so
Oh.
it has a window. I can look out into the other room at least.
programs?
Nobody's sneaking up on me, because it feels really weird being in a room when you have no windows.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. There, what I like now are the programs that you record on and you edit from are so good.
Oh yeah, Audacity it's free.
Crawling into a closet isn't necessary anymore. It's fantastic. I have Logic, and it's great.
Yeah.
I use that for the podcast that I do, and it's doing fine. So it's
Yeah,
really nice.
that's-
It's Magic. They have Magic now on
Yeah.
your computers.
Yeah, there's free software out there to record with. Like
Yep.
you just said, Audacity.
Audacity, yeah, that's what I
Audacity
use.
is really good. They actually made some improvements on it here not too long ago.
Mm-hmm.
But I've used that. I've used Audition, which you got to pay for. But
Yeah.
I got so fast on editing. That's another thing. Learn how to edit.
Oh yeah. Oh, most
It'll take a little
definitely.
practice if you haven't done it, but
There's this thing called YouTube. It's really amazing.
there's a lot more information.
So, oh my
there.
God, I remember when I first started, I had to send out a headshot with a resume to all of the agents in the area through the mail. Like, I had to put stamps on them. It was a totally different, and I had to look in the phone book to get their addresses. Yeah,
What
whole new
what
world.
is phone
So
book,
then when people
Precious?
come up to me and ask me something that I'm like, you could Google that. I'm always like, you're not gonna make it. If you can't even Google, you're not gonna make it. I might be a little judgmental based on my experience, but
Yeah. And Cole, Sunday at 6 o'clock, I actually have a panel that talks about how I got started and everything, and all my stuff was done from home, so maybe it'll help you out wherever you are. I don't know where you went, but there you are. So if you're here Sunday, check out my panel, and I'll give you some advice. I talk about using Audacity as well and all that stuff. So cool. Thank you very much.
Twisted for
And
your.
good luck.
There's an app that's on your phone that's really good called Twisted Wave. It is super easy to edit on it. It's really, really good. Twisted Wave, fantastic and super cheap.
Cool. Awesome. What's your name?
Michaela,
Michaela. What's your
Hi,
question?
Michaela.
speaking of YouTube, do you think that through YouTube you could get a career? Like doing voice acting on YouTube, getting your voice out there and stuff, making a YouTube channel?
I would say yes, because YouTube is a place where you can put your work. You know, so yeah.
It's from what I understand, and this is just because I've met a lot of YouTube people and they hate YouTube now. They've changed it, they've demonetized it. It's not as user friendly.
Or lucrative.
What?
Or lucrative.
Yeah, or lucrative. I would encourage, if you're doing something like that, start utilizing Twitch, because it's very easy to share your whatever it is, to send whatever you've recorded on Twitch to YouTube, so you can access both. But you can probably monetize better on Twitch than you can, and do more fun, crazy stuff on Twitch. They don't. Like, you can cuss and things. It's amazing. So that might be a better way right now, because it's kind of up in the air where YouTube is going right now, whether they're going to be like the new cable. You know what I mean? So my mom watches it all the time though, and it's like, Mom, where did you get this story about mermaids? YouTube. Probably not real, Susan. Thanks. Yeah. She's a nightmare. I love her.
Thank you.
Mermaids and chemtrails.
Thank you, Michaela.
Thank you.
Sorry.
How's it going?
Good.
What's your name?
Zach,
Hey, Zach.
I never remember.
so when you're doing voice acting and you're getting like a character that's been done before, either or is even being done right now in another medium or in another language, how important is it to keep in mind their performance compared to like what you're doing?
Ooh, that's a pretty good question. I like I said previously, when I auditioned for Bowser, I had reference tracks that were done probably by, I'm gonna kill myself if I don't remember his name. I can't remember his name. The previous Bowser. But anywho, my audition was different. It was the same lines, but my whole spin on it was different. I didn't need to impersonate the previous person that, embodied Bowser. Mine sounded definitely more gurgly, more growly. His was more like just a gruff voice, because he was actually doing speaking. And mine was more like way down in here, just, which I don't know where that comes from.
It was
but
amazing, though.
I can sing high tenor, like first tenor stuff. But
I just love that we all witnessed that and experienced it together.
I've been in shows. I played Billy Bigelow once.
Oh.
But yeah. So as far as the actual question goes, I don't know if I'm actually answering the question because I didn't need to impersonate it. But my circumstance was probably a little different. I didn't want to. I just took a shot, and it paid. So
I play a character in an animated series that has an on-screen counterpart. I didn't try to do anything that he did. As an actor, we were both given material. It says Marvel, and it says Black Panther.
It's very low pressure.
He made his choices. I made my choices, and that's what you do as an actor. If you go and you do 12 Angry Men right now, you're not going to do things the way they did in its original incarnation. It just is what it is. But you will be playing the character, right? So unless you are directed to copy someone else's performance, man, own it. Do your own thing,
I was number 10. Juror number 10.
No way.
Oh, really?
I've done 12 Angry Men.
Oh, that's cool.
Great.
I knew that.
I would say same. I would also, to the directing thing, a lot of times that's up to the director who tells you whether or not how similar you're going to be. But even if you are imitating someone, you still have to make your choices as an actor. You still have to commit to the role and not commit to the impersonation. You don't want to be the shadow of someone else. You want to be a true individual character. And so it's taking that direction, but being fully committed to it. And then it doesn't matter if you have the on-screen or the animated, you're still believable and such a badass. So I think that's what's important.
Unless you're redoing Porky Pig or something, you don't want it to
Oh.
sound
No.
if it's
You'll
a
probably be
really,
directed into that.
if it's a truly iconic, character, you probably don't want to mess with it.
And if you're auditioning for it, they'll usually be pretty clear about that.
Yes.
They'll be like, this is Porky Pig,
Right.
be Porky Pig.
Be the pig.
Yeah, some of my really early stuff, I'm digressing, but some of my really early stuff was doing one-liners for some cat in Canada that wanted to do, he was producing little answering machine things. So I was impersonating Scooby and Shaggy and stuff like that. And so I tried for those,
Word.
Cool. All right.
Thank you.
like $8 a piece.
Ooh.
What's your name?
I was on the way.
Amanda.
Hey, Amanda.
Hello. I'm wondering if you can talk a little bit about the audition process, especially for a place like Funimation. How do you find out to it?
Good evening again. So I have two questions. So the first would be, what's been the worst voice acting experience the three or four of you have had? And then to counter that, what's been the best voice acting performance nepotism aside? Also, James Mathis, if you're in 12 Angry Men, congratulations on that. That's a freaking amazing
It was just a
show.
reference. It was just a reference. I wasn't in.
Oh, I see.
That was me.
But if you want to cast me,
Right, not yet.
okay. I was an angry black man. That's what I was.
It was in the specs. It was in the specs.
Little different show.
Yeah, things that he gets in his specs that I don't get in mine. more urban.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
right?
Yeah, I hate that one. It's nothing like it. That's the word.
Yeah.
That's the word.
No one ever says
Yeah.
that to me. I don't understand.
The worst experience probably was auditioning with a certain voice that I was not able to deliver in the session. And it was just a very uncomfortable session full of flop sweat and all the greatest anxieties you can imagine. And I believe I was replaced. Yeah, I believe
Learning
I was replaced.
experience.
Hey, it happens.
Do you remember what it was for?
Yes.
Oh,
I'm not going to tell you.
No, I was gonna say, you can't say.
That's where we enter the
But
Nunya territory.
I do remember.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Oh my
They
gosh.
are defining moments.
Yeah,
you know?
they really are. Yeah.
They
Wow. Best.
are. Kicking Mark Hamill's ass.
Oh.
Yeah, I got to kick Mark Hamill's ass in session.
I
and
like
it-
have
and it was
chills
great.
for you
It
right
was
now.
great.
Yeah, that's
I
great.
really dug that. Just to look across and see him and knowing I was kicking his ass that whole session. It was awesome.
It's amazing.
It's so real though. That's real.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
That's
was the best.
amazing.
That was the best. And because it's Mark Hamill, you know. Yeah.
Oh, we just going on worst first?
Worst first.
Worst and
yeah.
best. I don't know. I don't know if I really have a worst. Doing as much Bowser as I have, every Bowser session is a challenge because of the physical nature of it. So my best and worst are both in the Bowser realm. Other things that I've done, little commercials here and there, and voice of a little green dragon that tells Bible stories named Zingo for some mega church. I don't even remember what state it's in. A really big church, 37,000 members or something. And they have a big kids program. But I digress. I do that a lot. Sorry. My best was doing Meowser for 3D World, because Meowser was a really, really big challenge. They gave me a script. We're going through the regular stuff. And then I turn the page and I'm like, Meowser, that's hilarious. What's a Meowser? And they're like, it's a cat power-up, you know, so he's going to be part cat. He's going to have a tail, and claws. And I go, what's he going to sound like? And they go, we don't know. So, you know, you're thinking on your feet, you know, it's like, all right, what is a Meowser going to sound like? And I've cat, okay, but he's not like a kitty cat. You can't go meow as Bowser. So it had to be like a wildcat thing. So it was, and at the same time, dropping into Bowser's growl. So it was like,
It's like
That sounds so cool with the echo in here.
know.
It's like, man.
that sounded a lot better than when I did
it's
it.
like you
Awesome.
open up a portal inside yourself and someone
Right?
else's voice
Where's that
comes
coming
out.
from?
It's
I
amazing.
was so pleased with it. This was a two sessions, and I had got to split it over a weekend. And I did performances of Evita that weekend. I was scared to death I wasn't going to be able to sing after doing 2 hours of Bowser, and I made it through that. I come back on Monday and I go, what about the Meowser stuff? And the reason I'm so happy with it was because they said, we're translating an email from Japan right now. And I was like, So I wait 10 or 15 minutes and they're like, all right, we're going to go ahead and get started. And then somebody comes in and they're like, all right, the Japanese thumbs up on the Meowser stuff. And I was like, thank God. Because I really didn't want to do it again. It hurt, you know. I mean, sometimes there's a
Sure.
little pain involved, but
Oh, yeah.
but I made it through that. And so that's why that's my happy place is Meowser,
That's
because I made
amazing.
it through it without
How,
having to redo it.
How about you,
Who were
Jamie?
you? Who were you in Evita?
Huh?
Who were you in Evita?
Oh, it was Magaldi.
Okay.
I wanted to. On this night of 1,000
Yes!
stars.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's good. Let's just, you sing the rest of the time. I don't need to talk. Okay, so my worst would be the first time I ever did fight noises.
Oh,
Hmm.
I was directed by Chris Sabat. You might know him as Vegeta, so that's very low pressure.
Yeah.
But I was like, he'll be able to teach me these fight noises, but he was sick. So he had no voice, and all he could do was kind of tell me. I did not play fight as I grew up as a child. I didn't do a lot of fight noises. I did a lot of decorating noises, organizing noises, friendship noises. I did not do fight noises. And so that was mortifying. You're my friend. Oh, it's right. Let's be friends. I'm gonna do your hair. No, I'm gonna do your hair. Love. So he at one point he was like, "It's fine. We'll just get someone else to do the fights."
Aw.
And it was like, oh, that knife. That knife was there for years. But then, not long after that, I did a show called Witchblade, which is very fight heavy and drunk heavy, interestingly. Two themes I've really stuck with in my career. And that got me through the fighting stuff. But I still have to, the engineer who's directing there now at Okratron with Sabat, I still have to remind him that I can do fight noises because of that first fighting horribleness. And my best, just off the top of my head right now, because like our job is so awesome. There are so many bests. It's really hard to choose just one. But Panty and Panning and Stocking, being able to write the script adaptation as vulgar as possible within the realms of United States law. That was my direction from the Japanese. I did it. and then I got to say lines from it and hear my friends say lines from it, and that was pretty amazing. It was a pretty amazing experience. Yeah.
That's cool.
And now I get to like write "Go F yourself" when I sign autographs for it, and there's nothing else you can do that with. It's pretty amazing.
They only have Funimation only has the first 2 episodes on YouTube. Is pretty good. Yeah, I liked it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay,
very
we got
much.
time for just 2 more questions real fast.
All right. You kind of talked about it a little bit earlier, and I think you elaborated on it a little bit more, Jamie. But do you think that there's a difference or better between making a home studio and recording from there, or going out, auditioning, really meeting those people? Because a lot of the things I've seen online say it's like you can make a home studio, and it's easy as that. But like you were talking about earlier, it's a lot of that kind of marketing yourself and meeting the right people.
Networking is huge.
Yeah.
For the experience of auditioning, it's great to go somewhere. For the quality of your sound, it's debatable. It's up to you. You might have a real sweet spot in your home studio,
It depends on the audition. Not everybody wants you coming in. Some people don't even want to know what you look like. It's true. It's probably for the best. It helps you get work. So some places will give you the option to come in, but a lot of times, like with my agent, they'll say, we need these auditions. We'll be recording between 10 and noon or something like that. I'm not going to do that because I already know my agents. We already have a relationship. So I'm just going to record from home and send it in and make everybody's life easier. But if on the rare occasion, it's rarer than not that people want you to come in and audition, you should. Yeah.
Thank you.
Good luck to you.
All right, our last question. What's your name?
Hi there, my name's Savannah. I was just wondering, what is one thing that you wish you would have known when you first started off?
That's a good one.
Yeah, one thing. I wish I'd have known. I wish I'd have known there would be a lot more no's than yeses. That would be easier to take.
It's not personal.
Yeah. Don't take it personally.
I'll tell you something that I accidentally learned when I first started that has made my career. When I did Fruits Basket and I auditioned, it was for the Psycho fan club president of this character named Yuki. And I was like, oh my God, she's psycho. I went and I auditioned just like normal, what I thought was right, but I didn't know she was this psycho person at the time. I just had the sides and I read them the way that I thought was true. And then I got cast. And I went in and I was like, oh my gosh, what's he gonna say? What does he want? She's psycho. And in my mind, I'm thinking of all of these animated crazy people. So is it gonna be like a Harley thing or what, what am I doing? And so Justin Cook was directing and he went through all of the history of the character and what I was doing and everything. And then he said, okay, let's get started. And I was like, well, she's psycho, because he didn't give me any character tips. I was like, what do you want me to do vocally? And he said, I think your voice is good. And I was like, But once I got over myself, what I learned in that moment was that my voice is my foundation. Everything that I have is based off this foundation. So if I was like, I'm crazy, there would have been no truth behind that character. I know that on stage, but sometimes the voice things, it gets mixed up. So learning in that very first role I ever did that I am my strength. My voice as it is my strength, gave me my entire career. I also play a lot of crazy people. So that's, I would say, a big thing is like let your voice be a strength, girl, because it's amazing.
Yeah, you got a natural
Yeah.
voice for it. That's a great question. All right, thank you guys so much for joining us. We're going to do our, yeah, absolutely, big round of applause.
Thank you.
Some wonderful information.